Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a quiet day. Before we begin today's story, just take a moment to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It makes a huge difference. Anyway, let's get into it. In a completely shocking and devastating twist of events, something that no Sister Wives fan saw coming, Kody Brown and Robyn Brown have been arrested in relation to a very serious child trafficking investigation. Yes, you read that correctly. It's thrown the entire Brown family into complete chaos and left fans stunned with shock, heartbreak, and a maelstrom of questions. It all began quietly. Rumors scattered here and there, anonymous reports, locked-up documents, cryptic internet gossip, whispers that something was amiss going on in the background at Coyote Pass. But when an official arrest warrant had been issued and video emerged of Kody and Robyn being handcuffed, taken into custody, the internet blew up. Though nothing has been officially confirmed as of yet, the grapevine and tabloid leaks online indicate that authorities have been monitoring Kody and Robyn for a while now. It allegedly started with some strange financial transactions, bizarre adoption cases, and strange family setups that simply did not sit well with the authorities. The specifics of the charges are under wraps, temporarily due to how delicate this case is. But initial reports suggest this might include trafficking, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and abuse of guardianship laws that cut across state lines. It's serious stuff. At the same time, Meri and Janelle, who had already been suspicious of what Kody had been doing, were utterly shocked by the extent of this affair. Both women had simply thought Kody was continuing his usual game of emotional manipulation. But this was far more than they could have ever thought was possible. Janelle, who for years attempted to stay with Kody for the sake of her children, was said to be devastated. According to sources, she burst into tears, declaring that she never believed it would go this far. And Meri, having just distanced herself from the family, she's left feeling foolish for ever trusting Robyn, who's behind the scenes puppeteering many fans long suspected. Robyn, long accused of attempting to remake the family in her own image, is now at the center of something much darker. Apparently, she employed her charm and strategic parenting decisions not only to influence family dynamics, but to conceal something much worse. And it's particularly chilling when you take into account that a lot of scenes over the years featured her looking after the younger children, all while giving the TLC cameras a perfect family illusion. That's left many fans asking, what did TLC know? And when did they know it? If something this egregious was going on behind the scenes, why did they continue to film scenes with children? And then there is Christine Brown. After years of putting up with Kody's emotional abandonment, she eventually gained peace with new boyfriend David Woolley. She rebuilt her life and looked like she was actually happy. But now, she's being pulled back into a nightmare she thought was over. Christine is said to be heartbroken. She's frightened for the safety of her grandchildren and appalled at having possibly unwittingly played a part in a carefully manufactured deception. Daughter Mykelti is said to be cooperating with authorities, grown suspicious as she was over the years. And Gwendolyn, never less than forthcoming, uploaded a brief but pointed message to social media. Told you, no one listened. It's obvious that Christine is truly struggling these days. Friends report her anxiety levels are through the roof, and that she's constantly feeling as if her past is crashing into her present, destroying everything she's worked so hard to rebuild. As one source described it, she felt like she was free. Now she feels like her past is bleeding into her future. And worse, putting her kids in danger. The aftershocks of this arrest are reverberating far beyond the Brown family. The whole Flagstaff community, and even sections of the wider polygamist community, are stunned. Folks are beginning to have sobering discussions about what can result when spiritual leadership goes together with unfettered authority. Authorities are now said to be reviewing old show footage, unaired scenes, and even production contracts. There's even speculation that TLC may have had legal shields in place, maybe protecting the Browns themselves from liability. But if the network dismissed warning signs, legal woes could be heading their way as well. And then there's Kody. According to sources, he explained to police at his arrest that it was all a misunderstanding. Sources claim that Kody's residence was indeed raided a few days prior to the arrest, and that the police took a batch of confidential documents. Included were some cryptic documents purportedly signed by Robyn, documents relating to guardianship of children who were not biologically hers. That in itself raised serious doubts. At the time of arrest, Robyn was utterly distraught. She cried uncontrollably, but wouldn't say a word to the media, or even request an attorney for hours. It was a moment that left everyone shocked, even those who had already questioned her motives for years. For years, followers had quietly wondered how the Brown family managed custody issues, particularly during their relocation from Las Vegas to Flagstaff, and after Robyn's contentious divorce from her first husband. That divorce allowed Kody to formally adopt her children, but now all those carefully orchestrated legal moves might be falling apart. The bigger Brown family appears to be disintegrating. Some of the adult children have removed all photos with Kody from their social media. Others are taking cryptic statements to their Instagram. Words such as accountability, healing and truth are appearing over and over. Two members of the family, Peden and Leon, are said to be negotiating with attorneys. And as this passionate tornado ravages the family, one thing stands out. Sister Wives, which was once a tale of love, family and unorthodox living, is now a chilling warning story of control, manipulation, and the downside of celebrity. With federal charges pending, custody of the minor children undecided, and the whole family under legal and public scrutiny, this is by no means the end of this saga. And for Meri, Janelle, and Christine, this could be only the start of a very painful chapter. The world remained silent as police cruisers flashed lights down the peaceful cul-de-sac, where Kody and Robyn had established their home. Rumors had been written off as internet rumors by many fans until the unthinkable was true. Kody Brown and his so-called favorite wife Robyn had been arrested during an ongoing federal probe into child trafficking. It was a shock that ripped through the Sister Wives world like a tornado. Fans who had witnessed the Browns' births, weddings, family battles, and tearful goodbyes found themselves watching a live perp walk. Kody, his hair disheveled and his eyes dazed, was handcuffed and walked out of the house. Robyn cried uncontrollably, holding a child, an image some described as desperate, as if she were still attempting to portray the image of a loving mother. But it was too late by then. The evidence had spoken. Behind the show's deliberately constructed facade of religious harmony, investigators have allegedly found a disturbing paper trail. Sealed files, falsified adoptions, and custody transfers that bypassed legal systems entirely. It all led to a much larger, far more evil scheme. One said to be connected to international trafficking. The accusations are enormous. And from those familiar with the investigation, this wasn't a matter of sloppy documentation or miscommunication. This was intentional. Investigators feel the Browns weren't swept up in something random, they were involved. For Meri and Janelle, the betrayal stung particularly badly. They'd already distanced themselves from Kody and Robyn throughout the years, bitter about favoritism, manipulation, and broken promises. But nothing could have readied them for this. Meri allegedly had a panic attack upon learning of the news and was hospitalized. According to a friend, she just kept repeating the same sentence again and again. "I didn't know." And Janelle, so frequently, the voice of reason, the one who remained level-headed amidst the storm, finally cracked. In a leaked family group chat, she reportedly said to her kids, "He lied to us all. This wasn't just cheating or leaving us behind. This is evil, and we let it grow under our roof." But as bad as that was, Christine is likely suffering the most. She had already suffered for years of emotional isolation and manipulation. She was finally able to summon the strength to leave, start a new life, and begin anew with David Woolley. She proved the world what it was like to rise from the ashes of a troubled past. But the news of Kody's arrest shattered her. Neighbors report Christine collapsed in her driveway, crying hysterically when she heard what happened. "It's over," she allegedly told them. "Everything I built, my family, my faith, my story, it's all a lie." Christine had struggled so desperately to keep her children safe and make a happy, secure future for them. Now she's confronted with the horrifying possibility that her own children could have been much more toward harm than she ever knew. Christine's daughters were traumatized. One of them was quoted as crying out, "I want to change my name." It was a raw, unguarded moment that summarized just how profoundly this scandal has affected the entire Brown family. The damage has been wholesale. TLC had no hesitation in releasing a statement. They instantly disavowed the Browns and declared that all filming would be put on hold until the legal process is completed. Off-camera, ousted crew members have started coming forward, revealing that they'd always been uncomfortable, and particularly how much control Robyn wielded over the house. Some even questioned why some kids were hardly ever if ever featured on camera. Theories that used to hover around on dark Reddit forums and alternative podcasts are now being brought into the mainstream. And the FBI is currently collaborating with state agencies to reveal the extent of the Browns' operations. And it gets worse. Anonymous sources say Robyn's financial records sealed LLCs, suspicious banking activity, and her insistence on private guardianship agreements are now undergoing intense forensic analysis. What began as whispered speculation is now an open federal investigation. But beyond the legal tempest, the damage done to her is heartbreaking. Family friends report that the Brown children are in shock. Some have cut off contact with their parents, while others are stuck in confusion and pain, unable to decide what to believe or whom to turn to. Kody shared a short cryptic video saying only, "I always knew something was wrong. But not this. My Kelty and Tony have totally disappeared from the public eye, going into hiding with their twins." Gwen, however, who has been outspoken previously, posted a video of herself condemning Kody and Robyn. She stated emphatically, she's willing to testify if necessary. The response from the public has been overwhelming and rapid. #Kody Brown trafficking and #justice for the kids have been trending across the globe. Even people who were once members of polygamous communities have begun speaking out, calling for a fuller exploration of the culture that allowed this unchecked authority. Legislators are now demanding new child welfare safeguards, and there have even been suggestions that new legislation be named after the Brown children. National syndicates are racing to create exposés, documentaries, and breaking news specials. But for Meri, Janelle, and Christine, nothing can ever take back the betrayal. This isn't about shame in front of the public, it's about years of trust betrayed in the worst possible way. Christine, particularly, has been quiet. She's been said to cancel all forms of media appearances and possibly request full custody hearings for the younger children. She posted one last message to her fans: "Please don't celebrate this. Please don't say, 'I told you so.' This isn't drama, this is tragedy. My heart is gone. My life is over." And as the wheels of justice grind on, charges piling up that could land Kody and Robyn in prison for decades. One thing is clearer than all else. The family once touted as a sign of holy love and strength is now regarded as the focal point of something utterly grotesque. And those left behind, they're attempting to put together the remnants of a legacy that might never be intact again. Federal agents are still working around the clock, raiding storage facilities, tracking mysterious financial transactions, and interviewing past nannies, midwives, and guardians, many of whom were admired on the show. But what they're discovering is something that sounds like it's straight out of a crime novel and not reality television. The most frightening discovery: a journal stored in a trunk at the rear of Robyn's master bedroom closet. It was identified by investigators as hers. There were pages of handwritten musings, notes in Robyn's familiar script, detailing rehoming practices, custody transfers completed without legal authorization, and unsettling allusions to extracting negative energy from disobedient spirits. More appalling, some of the pages had been redacted. Forensic technicians needed to chemically treat the pages in order to read them. What they found, now locked away as official documents, were purported mentions of spiritually guiding particular children to families more worthy. What does that even mean? Officials aren't talking much publicly about it, but legal professionals are calling the implications haunting. And it doesn't end there. Researchers also found a paper trail linking Robyn to a now-defunct non-profit organization. On the surface, it purported to place children from dysfunctional polygamist families in more suitable settings. But beneath the surface, money transactions through Belize and the Cayman Islands, large withdrawals of which were only tagged as family transition stipends. When Meri discovered from investigators that several of these deals occurred while she was actually residing on the same property, she fainted in shock. Through tears, she explained to a close friend, "They used our name, our reputation, our children to launder pain." He used the sister wives platform as a shield. And Robyn? She was the architect. Janelle, who is usually the most level-headed of the bunch, had her say in her own manner. Days following the arrest, she streamed live on Instagram, clearly disturbed, yet talking straight from the heart. Her clip gained more than 18 million views within days. Straight into the camera she spoke, "I don't know what hurts worse, that the man I used to believe in is dead, or the fact that the woman I stood up for all these years was capable of such betrayal. Kody didn't just shatter our marriage, he shattered the law. He shattered the souls of innocent children. And I stayed right by his side for decades, believing we were doing something holy." Christine's silence has only added to the heartbreak. She closed out her public accounts after posting her final message to fans. Friends report she's hardly functioning. She hasn't been eating, she's cried incessantly, muttering the same phrases repeatedly. "How could he do this to our baby?" It was one family insider who reported that it was Christine's daughter Isabel, who was the first to hear of the arrest, through a trending TikTok notification. Initially she believed it was a joke. But then she watched the video, her dad in handcuffs, Robyn being driven away in the back of a police car. It shattered her, it shattered all of them. Now a number of the older Brown children have come forward anonymous, providing statements to investigators. Some revealed recollections of friends from childhood who simply disappeared. Others spoke of bizarre visitors at odd hours, allegedly for religious consultations. One particularly chilling one came from an adult sibling, who remembered Robyn whispering to them, "Don't ask about the guests in the basement, just pray for them. They're being moved to something greater." All the while federal prosecutors are building a case that would have some real heft. The conspiracy counts cover several states, and with the addition of trafficking, fraud and obstruction, legal analysts say Kody and Robyn each may face up to 25 years behind bars, if not more. But even with the avalanche of evidence, there are still those attempting to change the narrative. Members calling themselves Free the True Spiritual Leaders created a GoFundMe campaign to fund Kody and Robyn's legal battle. Astonishingly, it raised almost $80,000 before it was removed. One source termed the group a digital cult hanging onto delusions of innocence. But the delusion is rapidly disintegrating. TV networks began pulling reruns of Sister Wives. Sponsors are dropping out. TLC, under mounting pressure, has officially cancelled all programming related to the Browns. Sister Wives, Legacy, which was set to explore the lives of the next generation, has been put on hold indefinitely. Even the videotaped series finale is now being reviewed for legality. Producers are concerned it includes footage and statements that might be used as evidence. One of the unreleased scenes is quite disturbing. Robyn is featured discussing her special calling, asserting she was elected to guard spirits that others had abandoned. Editors who watched the footage following the arrests commented that they felt physically ill. The Brown family's empire, once seen as a groundbreaking look into plural marriage and modern family life, is now in ruins. Their properties have been frozen. Book deals are cancelled. Janelle's cooking brand has been pulled from store shelves, and Meri's once popular wellness retreats are now the subject of online conspiracy theories. One former fan summed up the public feeling in a painful comment, "We believed in them. We looked at them. We laughed with them. And now we're left wondering, were we watching a TV show or a nightmare?" But the worst part of all this, the children. More than a dozen are trapped in the emotional devastation. Dozens are now talking with Child Protective Services. Others are in therapy. Others won't come out of their rooms. One small child, allegedly fearing for his safety, asked, "Is Dad gonna take me away too?" Christine, Janelle, and Meri are now working with legal teams to ensure the children are protected. They've begun filing civil suits against both Kody and Robyn, not just to recover damages, but to seek justice. Christine's legal petition is especially powerful. It contains over 200 pages of documented emotional abuse and financial coercion. One line in particular sends chills. "He never needed chains to hold us back. He just needed silence and faith. And now I can see how lethal that was." As the probe deepens and the drama in the courtroom unfolds, one reality is becoming impossible to escape. The Browns, once hailed as pioneers of spiritual family life, are now a somber cautionary tale. It's a tale of uncontrolled power, of spirituality warped into an instrument, and of the type of subtle evil concealed behind the love. Kody and Robyn, once regarded as champions of a new mixed family, now risk the very real prospect of serving the remainder of their years in prison. And the rest of the family? They are left to pick up the broken shards of trust, innocence, and family, and pray that healing someday will still be an option. But for Christine, whose world is broken, and for the children who can never feel secure again, the harm might be too great. And for the millions who witnessed, who trusted, who cheered for love, this isn't simply a scandal. It's a tragedy.